All right, Carson, we're going to watch our breaststroke here. Carson, make sure you also take some time to check out the notes that we have in the email as well, just different things that maybe we're seeing that you can kind of focus on a little bit if you don't have time to always watch the videos. Always look at it before or after practice or even before or after your meets. So just different things we see that we want you to really kind of think about. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this started over here right after this turn. And we'll kind of take it step by step. Nice streamline, good turn. All right, so let's kind of go in and restart. All right. A little bit there, a little slow. Sorry about that. All right, Carson. So we start that breaststroke. The very first thing we like is we love the head position in breaststroke here. We love the fact that you're looking down as your arms are fully stretched and extended. That looks great. We're going to focus a little bit more on your kicking a little bit later, but I do want you to just kind of see, look how this leg is pointed down and this leg is pointed to the side. You got to be careful with that breaststroke kick. We got to make sure the legs are kind of in the same plane. So that means you bring your feet up towards your hips, your knees kind of stay in, and then they swing your legs around, more of a whip kick motion. So as we get through this, we're going to be looking at focusing more on that right leg, but I just want you to kind of be aware of it early on. As we start that very first pull, we can see that we're starting to lift our eyes up and our head up with our shoulders, which is great. Your hands are a little higher in the water than we'd like to see. You can kind of see, especially on that left hand, it looks like your fingertips are just breaking the surface with your pinky, and same with on probably your right hand too. So let's try and keep those hands a little bit lower. You know, when we're grabbing above the water, you're grabbing more air. But make sure your hands are a little bit lower so you're grabbing a little bit better water. Here looks good. You have nice high elbows. Your hands are pushing exactly where it needs to be. So you've got a good sweep coming in. You can see those bubbles right in this area here, and that's because that left hand was definitely higher than the right hand. Your hands are right near the surface, which I love. But what we want to make sure we do is really push them forward. Okay? I think what we're going to see here is a little bit of a downward motion. Okay, good. That's actually better than I thought. I thought we were going to go a little bit more down. You kind of started your hands down, but then you really pushed them forward, so that looks good. And again, great job on the head position here. Now, the one thing I want to talk about, your hands right here are excellent. Turn your hands out to the side, so you're really going to grab good water. But what I want you to look at is your legs. You want to make sure on breaststroke, because breaststroke really is more about timing than anything else. So you want to make sure on breaststroke that you finish your kick before you start your next pull. Your feet are just coming together here, and you're already about halfway through that pull. All right, so let's make sure we wait to start the pull until that next kick is done, okay? So pull, breathe, kick, and then finish that kick. The other thing, be careful, don't let that chin to breathe. Let that head just come up naturally with those shoulders. You know, I like to say keep your spine in line, but the idea is keep your head in line with your shoulders, in line with your neck, in line with your back. There's really no reason to use that chin to get up and down. Hands come underneath your chin perfectly there. You can definitely tell that you're a little bit on a downward motion, but then you do a good job of sliding them upwards. Just remember to keep pushing those hands forward, okay? So right here, because you're in your pull, you're never really truly in a good body line position. As we're looking here, you kind of see that your knees are a little bit bent up into your stroke and then up into your hands. What we really want to see is a straight line, okay? So that head being down, your arms being fully stretched, your toes being pointed, we should see that straight line position, that body position after every single stroke. So we do need to make sure you just do a little bit better job of keeping your hands forward till you start that next kick. Now, as we're able to see your kick a little bit better here, you can see those feet and those heels are almost together. Those knees are a little bit wide. Make sure you keep your knees in and just bring those feet towards your hips. Be curious to see your right leg as we get forward. You can see how much lower. Here's your hips, and that's where you want your feet to be. Here's where your foot is. So because you're turning your right knee out a lot further than your left, you're kind of letting that foot stay a little bit lower. So you've got to get that foot up higher. Again, though, great head position here, but look at where your hands are, right? Make sure your hands are pushing that way. That was a quick line. Sorry about that. All right. So you can see that your knee is directly out to the side, and I want you to kind of look at the difference in the way your feet look here. You can see this foot here on the left side is much higher. Your ankle's pointed out. You can see this one, you got your whole knee turned out, and so we got to work on that right leg. The left leg looks really good from what I can see here, and so we'll see it coming on the other side. That right leg is really what we want to be focused on. Again, though, head position looks outstanding, and this is what I'm talking about, having full extension with those arms. So keep those arms up until those legs finish, because that extension is excellent. Doing a great job of breathing early. As we go into that turn, excellent job right here. You're going to see your feet start to stack. Right here when they start to cross, that's great. That really helps drive your feet in that wall a little bit better. Now, the other thing we want to really think about is you can see this about the middle of your back underwater. So you're kind of pulling up a little bit higher than you want to be. So stay just a little bit lower in that water if you can. Looks like you watched your hand come off. This streamline, however, is amazing. This body line right here. Okay, when I was showing you earlier the curved body line, this is the body line we want to see. Okay, that's a tight streamline with your arms and your elbows. You've got it locked right behind your ears, straight legs, toes pointed. Excellent job on the streamline. Good job of waiting for the 3 seconds. Try not to use your upper body. I'd say you were almost 4 seconds, but let's look at where we go with that kick, because we use pretty much our whole body to do that kick. All right, so right here, you're pushing forward. And here's where your kick is. I'm going to make this line really long. Now, where you do the kick, it goes all the way down here, right? That's pretty good, but we don't want those hips to be staying up. You're not really doing much with your hips. You're actually forcing your hands down a little bit too far. So keep those hands pushing out a little bit forward. Don't let the upper body move. The other thing is let that dolphin kick push you forward a little bit more before you start that pull. On the pull out, body line looks good, head position looks good. Hands are a little bit out to the side. I like to call those angel wings, right? When our hands go out to the side, you're kind of expanding your body and making a little bit more drag. If you can take those hands and just put them on the front of your thighs, that will help curve your shoulders and keep your body in a little bit better streamline. It's a little thing, but I think if you just put your hands there, you're going to find that you're going through that water a little bit better. As you do the breaststroke kick, remember, you want to slide those hands straight up your belly button all the way up to the top of that stroke. You can see here that you're kind of pointing your hands down, which is causing a little bit more drag than you want to do. It's not much, right? And I know that, but it's always good to have less drag as long as possible. On your breaststroke pull, what you want to do is keep in mind it's a 3-second glide at the start, then a dolphin kick, then a 2-second glide, then a breaststroke pull, then a 2-second glide, then a breaststroke kick, then a 1-second glide and swim. The reason why we want the 1-second glide up front is we've got to make sure we get into that stroke close to the top of the water. So when your hands press, let me rewind you a little bit here. When your hands press out to the side, right here is the fullest part. When your hands are pressed out to the side, again, that's fantastic. That's when your head needs to be breaking the surface. As you can see, you're still a good, I'd say maybe 8 to 12 inches below the water. So we've got to get up a little bit better and keep those hands streamlined until we're ready to start swimming. Right here, because your hands are underneath your chin and your head's just breaking the surface, in some instances that could be called as a second underwater pull. So we've got to make sure we're a little bit more careful about that. Just lengthen out the timing. You're perfect. Great job, Karson. You're awesome.